Okie dokes, welcome back. No, that's not working. Yes, it is. Welcome back, and welcome to the final video in the Kindling splitter. And this is actually going through and producing a working drawing. So a working drawing is something that, if I just grab the peg one open, is something you can print out. It's got enough information for you to go through and make this thing. So you should be able to fit all of the details onto one sheet. It will mean actually going through and actually spending a bit of time making sure you don't double up on dimensions. As you can see, I've deliberately done this to the peg to show kids where there's doubling up dimensions, such as there and there. So I'll just delete those to sort of show you don't have to have every single detail on all drawings. You can go through and simplify it a fair bit. So with the Kindling splitter, you've finished it by now. No point jumping ahead and doing the drawing until it's finished and when you're happy with it. So this is it ready to go. And even making sure that the top view and the left view and the front and side. So at the moment I actually want this to be the front, and all I can do is I can just go right click on the left view and go set current view as front, and now it should be top front. So it's pretty easy. Going to press save to that and going to go through and create a drawing. So you can go to home drawing, or you can go up the top to that little arrow and go drawing there, and that'll give you a sheet that looks a bit like this. At the moment, don't dump anything on there, because at the moment the sheet is not standard size, and we're going to get rid of the border and the title block. So first thing we need to do is edit the sheet. So I'm going to right click here and edit sheet. I'm going to change the size to A4 because that's what we can print easily. And let's keep it as landscape. So landscape's there. Go there. Now as you can see, the actual little title block's way too big, so I'm going to get rid of that. So delete, and then I'm going to right click and get rid of the border because I don't like the look of them. We don't need them. Now I can go through and dump my base in. So I'm going to go to base, and then it's going to ask me select your document. So luckily it goes through and has your most recent ones here, and I can click that, and it's automatically assumed you want the front on first. Now before I click OK, I'm going to make sure I've got enough room for a side view and a top view, and at the moment it's scale 1:4, which is about right. If I made it half scale, so that, it would get a bit too big. I would only fit 2 views and no room for dimensions. And out of normal standards, you usually go to full scale, half scale, then quarter scale, 1/5 scale, 1/10 scale. You don't do every scale in between. It just makes it a bit confusing. So quarter scale is pretty common. I'm going to click OK to that, and that's there. So I can go through, and if I hover around, it'll come up with a symbol, and I can move it to a good spot, leaving enough room for a top view and a side view, so maybe a tiny bit lower. Okay. Now I'm going to put my projected views on. So I'm going to go up to the top left, click projected, and it's automatically going to go, if you hold it above, the top view goes there and side view goes there. Now if you see when you go and put the top view up, it actually shows the bottom. It means that computer's just got a setting wrong, and I'll just show you how to fix that. So I'm just going to press escape. But if yours comes up with the bottom above it, and then it'll probably come up with the left side on the right, which you won't be able to tell because it's the same for both ways on this tool. But you go to Tools and you go to Application Options, in File, Configure Default Template. Make sure the drawing standard is ANSI. Some of the computers I know are fixed, but I need to go through and check that for you guys. So if it's wrong, that's how you fix it. Pretty easy. Okay, so back to placing my views, projected, click on that one. I'll put one there, and see it comes up with a box. That's just the computer just coping with life at the moment. It's not putting in extra details unnecessarily. One there, and I couldn't put a 3D one there, but it's currently a bit too big, but I'm going to put it there anyway. I'll change that later. Once you're done, you can right click and go create. Okay, that dumps them all there. This one's a bit too big and gets in the way, so I'm actually going to go through and right click that, and I'm going to edit that view. I'm going to change this one down to maybe 1/6 scale. It doesn't matter with those views that you're not following the rules, because it's a 3D view. You can't measure off it anyway. So I'm going to just get that out of the way just so you can get that there. Now the game is, and this is the bit that I'm actually going to go through and actually mark you on, is, or give you some grade for, is going through and working out what dimensions do you need to make this. So what are you going to need to, like basically if you want to ask me how big is this is going to answer all your questions. So I'm going to go to annotate, I'm going to open up the dimension tool, I'm going to start adding dimensions to things. So I want to know how far it is from that point to that point, and that's 211. Okay, that's kind of crucial. I want to know how far it is from the top of that rod, which is actually not there, it's actually there, and I'm going to go cancel. Sorry about the background noise, the kids are a wee bit excited outside. It is lunchtime, so I'm going to go from that line to there because that's going to define how long those uprights are. 294, that sounds about right. Going to leave a bit of room there. I need to know how big the rod is, which is a 12mm rod. I need to know how big the base is, so that's how long these lines are. Also need to know how wide it is, which is the same, but you don't know that. Need to know how far the blade is from the base, or the top, you can choose. I'm trying to think what else you need to know. You do need to know that it's actually 25mm angle iron, so you can chuck that on, and if it's a smaller dimension you put it on the inside, you don't put it out on the outside. Just a general rule, put it in there, and I can do the 25 here, which I can choose to do this side or that side. Sometimes it looks a bit better that side. What other details? You could go through and mark how tall the bar is, and you can tell me how low it is as well, in terms of like, okay, at that point it's 50, at that point it's 65. Add as many dimensions as you think you need, but don't start doubling up. And by doubling up, I mean don't go through and measure the 249 on this drawing and this drawing, because it is going to be the same, and you don't need to know that information. You do know that that's a circle that's 211. You know that how high those pieces are. You know how big the base needs to be, and you could go through and chuck this in, and you generally put dimensions outside of projects. It makes it a bit clearer, but that 188 is just going to be defined by how far these legs are apart in the end anyway. Once you've done that, you can press save it a logical name, Kindling splitter drawing, means it's really easy to find it later, and press print to that. Make sure it prints A4 and all that sort of stuff. As long as you set up first and got the sheet the right size, it should work pretty well. Once you've got that, you can start building. Sounds pretty good. So once you can show me you got yours, actually, before you do that, sorry, chuck in some text, put your name on there. So, what do we call it? Kindling splitter Smith. Awesome. And that's, we can move that around once we're out of the tool. We can go through and move that much like anything else and resize it as you need. Then you press print, and we'll see you in the workshop with this in your hot little hand. Right, see you then.